Alright, for you guys joining us on the BOE review, give me a second. The media team is getting together. We're going to add a few things in here shortly. Need to post a link to the chat, as we all know. So it's been a while since we did a review, Cat. So basically, we're going to refresh some of y'all memory. We're going to talk about the league, talk about the team, talk about all the upcoming things that we have going on. The media team's having technical difficulties, so for this first one, we're not going to have a camera feed. But by next week's recap, we should have a camera feed and we should have other things going on. So it's mainly going to be audio. Well, welcome. So let's dive right into it. Let me post a link in the chats, and we're gonna, go right into the business. So first of all, thank you once again. Welcome to BOE. Welcome to what we do. Everybody knows Ball Out Arrow's been around for a while, and we are by that mantra. Just a full, assembly full of adults. Just ready to play, have fun, and keep it as logistically as we can without breaking rules. And I applaud you guys. We've only had 2 warnings this whole season. We're on week 13. That's great. So I just want to take a moment and just thank all my owners, man. I appreciate you guys reading the rules, going through it, and just making it easy to run a league. With just the fact that we don't even have, we've had borderline rule breaks. We only had 2 that's like, hey, look, we need to talk about this. And once again, man, that's amazing. To have 29 grown men be in the league and not break a rule, that's amazing. I applaud you guys for that. So thank you. Can't thank you enough for that. So let's dive right in. I'm going to start right off because it's week 13. We're going to look at the position standings for the playoffs. We're going to go division by division and just kind of, just knee jerk it. So first of all, we're going to go with the top 10 teams in the NFL right now according to standings. The number 1 team in the NFL right now is Seattle. I'm going to talk about Quentin and his Seattle defense later on in the segment. The second overall team is Tristan and the Raiders. We're going to talk about his team and what he's doing out there in Oakland later on in the segment. The third overall team is Mac. We're going to talk about what Mac and the Cowboys are doing out there in Arlington later on in the segment. Followed by we have Omar and the Texans. We're going to talk about what he's doing out there in Houston later on. We have Mike with the Falcons. We're going to talk about what he's doing later on. Number 6, we have Jeff and the Panthers. We're going to discuss what he's doing over there later on in Charlottesville. Number 7, we have myself in Nashville. We're going to talk about what I'm doing later on in Nashville, trying to keep up the division. As you can see, the AFC South division is tough because you have Embolish with the Jaguars right there, number 8. We're going to discuss that later. Then we have Nick out there in Tampa with the Bucks. We're going to discuss that later. And the last 2 spots that fill up the top 10 league, one goes to Tap and one goes to Black Ghost with the Vikings in Minneapolis, and the other spot that tied, like I said, goes to the other with the Chiefs at 7-4. All right, so those are your top 10 teams in the league. Now let's break it down by division. So in the AFC conference, let's break it down by conference. In the AFC conference, like I said, Tristan's leading the pack with a 9-2 victory. With a 9-2 record. We have the Texans sitting at number 2 in the AFC with an 8-3 record. If we was to go off that, we'll be jumping ship all the way to the Chiefs, saying they're sitting at number 3 because you can't count the Jaguars or myself because we're in the same division as the Texans. So then the Chiefs would be sitting at number 3 spot in the AFC with a 7-4 record. And then the Browns will be taking the number 4 seed in the AFC, just plus to end today with a 6-5 record. Then the wildcard teams would be myself at a 7-4 record and the Jaguars at a 7-4 record. That will conclude your seeding if the playoffs start today. On the NFC side of the equation, we have the Seahawks, they've just been dominating the season, and they're leading with a 10-1 record. Followed by Mac and the Cowboys at the number 2 seed with an 8-3 record. Followed by Mike, who's tied right now with the number 3 seed. So it could either be Mike or the Panthers, depending on how their games are, who won what, who's won more home, who's won what division, this could flip. So you can either say Mike or the Panthers or Jeff at number 3, whichever way you want to go with it. And number 4 would be going to the Vikings, Black Ghost, and then number 4 seed. Then whoever you pick for number 3 would be, so that means if you say you pick Falcons for number 3, then that means Jeff would be number 4, and then Nick would be at number 6, and that would conclude your playoff spots if the playoffs was to start today. So with that said, let's dive back real fast. We're gonna look at the stats. We're gonna see who's been doing what in the league, what's been going on, who are the main players to watch, and just dive into it. So we're looking at passing yards. A guy that we didn't really mention, who's just 2 games behind in the playoff seeding, would be Cali Kid and the San Diego Chargers. He's leading the league with Phillip Rivers right now with passing yards of 3,063. The man has 22 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, and he's only been sacked 24 times. As you know, in this segment, we only talk about the top 3 players in each position. So if we come down there, be looking at the rookie having a season, and Deshaun Watson right there behind. Phillip Rivers when it comes to yards allowed in the season at 3,019, and he has 21 touchdowns with only 9 interceptions. So the young man is making excellent reads and great decisions, and he's only been sacked 20 times. Right under that is the second-year pro in Dak Prescott, who doesn't want to be outdone, looking at 3,009 yards, 16 touchdowns, and only 9 interceptions, been sacked 3 times. Those are your top 3 passing leaders in the league. Now we're going to go to passing touchdowns. So if we want to talk about passing touchdowns, the guys that are really getting it done and getting those fantasy points for our owners into the bucket, you know this man is consistent. Aaron the Champ Rodgers with 24 touchdowns in the league, with only 14 interceptions and 20 sacks. Now we've seen one rookie in the AFC South doing his thing with 3,000 yards, 21 touchdowns and 21 touchdowns and 9 picks. We have another rookie. These rookie quarterbacks are actually balling out this season. Now Poison and Deshaun Kaiser is with efficiency. It's 23 touchdowns to only, let me say this one more time, only 7 interceptions. Yes, he does not have 3,000 yards, but the man is so close to 2,500. Keep it up, Poison. Keep it going. But he has been sacked a lot. He's been sacked 37 times, so that O-line needs to work on him. Help out their quarterback, because he's been efficient when the ball does come out his hands and he doesn't get sacked. It's going down to number 3 spot leading in the league is Andy the Red Hot Piper Dalton. Inconsistency has always plagued Dalton, but he's been keeping it moving this season with 23 touchdowns, the 12 interceptions, and 40 sacks. He's another one that's been getting laid up by his offensive line. That's the only thing he needs to do better, but he is getting down the fantasy points. Now we're going to go into completion ratings. Basically just the QBR. So to see who's the best efficient quarterback in the league, the top 3, we got to drop down a little bit, because usually messes up if they haven't only played 2-3 routes. So the top 3 efficient QBs in the league. Why am I not surprised that Mighty Ice is on this list as number 1 with a QB passer rating of 106.6. Matty's doing that with a 22-9 touchdown interception ratio, and he's only been sacked a predicimal 13 times this league. Let me repeat that. It's week 13, and Mighty Ice has only been sacked 13 times. That is an applause to his coaching and the staffing around him. Next, we're moving down on the list of Deshaun Kaiser. Like I talked about, this rookie earlier has been efficient when he's not getting hit with a QBR of 104.4, 23 touchdowns and 7 receptions would do that for you. Keep it up, young man. And not to be outdone by the rest of these cats, Aaron, the boy, Golden Boy Rodgers has to be there with 100.5 QBR precision ratings, 20 sacks, 24 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Keep it up, fellas. Moving on to the most sacked quarterback in the league. I know this is a segment a lot of you coaches and owners don't like to see, but it just shows you what you need to draft in the and how you involve your team later on in the offseason. The most sacked quarterback in the league is, oh my God, Joe Not So Cool Flacco. 51 times. No wonder why the man can't get it done. He's been sacked 51 times with an 8-18 TD to Inter ratio at a horrible quarterback rating of 59.9. Followed by that is Eli Manning, and the player of the Giants this year has actually led to their coach getting fired, and we're going to talk about that later on. They hired a defensive-minded prospect, defensive-minded coach out of the CFL, and he's now new to the league. So we're going to see the transition as he goes into that. But we discuss that later on in the segment. But Eli has been sacked 46 times, and that has affected his QBR. Just his overall performance. He's 15-12. QBR is not bad at 82.5. He's around the average in the league. But 46 times in your belly is not going to do you any solids. Moving down, we have Matt Stafford. Yes, his QBR is great, but he has been hit 45 times to the ground. This is something the O-line is working on, but he's just at the crisp of hitting 3,000 yards and 19-9 touchdown ratio, touchdown into ratio. So we're going to move on to the running backs, the bullheads of the leagues. We're going to go right off the bat. Why am I not surprised when it comes to yards? Ezekiel, the Freak Elliott, is leading the league with 1,366 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. So Zeke has fumbled only one time. He's broken 28 tackles. So congrats to D-Mac and Zeke. Followed on that list is Devontae Freeman, right under him with 1,331 yards and 18 touchdowns. He's fumbled the rock 5 times. So that could have attributed to him being behind Zeke. Zeke could have got more yards, but he's actually broken more tackles and averaged more yards per contact with 282 and 32 broken tackles. Next on that list is the rookie Christian McCaffrey. Now, Jeff and the coach of the Panthers was actually criticized for picking a little bit earlier on this young cat, but if they could fall back a little. But he is making every investment of his dollars count. Right here behind the 3 with 1,036, 9 touchdowns, only 1 fumble, but he is averaging 94.2 yards a carry. Go ahead, young man. Keep it up. We're going to look at your touchdown leaders in the league. So when it comes to your touchdown leaders in the league, Freeman right there takes the top spot. As you can see, he's helping you on your fantasies to keep feeding the young man. He was number 2 in yards, now he's number 1. And when it comes to touchdowns, right under him, not to be outdone, is Todd Gurley. You know Gurley's been doing it for a long time. So Gurley's staying right there, staying efficient. Now this surpriser is right here, Robert Kelly. This young man came blossom into the season last year, late in the season, and he's continuing it to keep it going this season. As a rookie, he was doing it. Now he's actually up here proving he can be consistent. His yards isn't up there with everybody else, but his touchdowns, and that means they are using the young man at the red zone. If you see this man at the red zone, you better get ready to rumble, because he has 14 touchdowns. So let's keep it moving on. We're gonna see. We're gonna actually go on which halfback. This is not a segment my halfback and my halfback coaches like to see. But who has fumbled the most in the season this year? Oh my God, the rookie Leonard Fournette. This young buck is expected to do more. He has 8 touchdowns and 8 fumbles. So the amount of times he's actually crossed the end zone is the amount of times the rock has hit the floor. This young man's trying to do better, but he's only averaging 65 yards a game. The coaching staff are trying to see what they could do to get him going. But we spoke to them and they said they're gonna get it going. Next on the list we have Tyron West from the Ravens. Now with Flacco being sacked 57 times, you can see why this young man isn't really getting his production on the yards, and he is fumbling because he is getting hit in the back on the end zone with 7 fumbles in the league. Right after that we have Darnell Plumlee Jr., the rookie, with 6 fumbles, and he barely had any carries. So we're moving on. We're moving on to the receivers. These, we like to call them the divas of the league. When it comes to receptions and everything else, Dez is leading, followed by Hopkins from the Texans, and then followed by Jordy Nelson. As you can see, Aaron Rodgers is up there with the Packers. Now, let's go into yards. Which one of our receivers are balling this season? Why are we not surprised that Dez, who is leading receptions, will be number 1 in yards with 1,172 receiving yards at an average of 106.5 a game. Followed by Julio the Freak Jones. Man, this boy is a monster, triple double team, and he still goes up and grabs it and run right by you at 1,124 with average of 102. Keep it up. And then why are we not surprised he was number 3 when it comes to reception? He is right there at 1,104 with an average of 94.6 yards a game. So let's go into our receivers and see who's actually been leading in touchdowns. So when it comes to touchdowns, Julio's number 1 with 11. Jordy Nelson's right there tied up with him with 11. We have a bunch of people tied at number 2 with AJ Green with 8. DeAndre Hopkins with 8. Tawan Taylor with 8, John Ross with 8, and the number 3 slot goes all the way to Montavious Bryant, Michael Thomas, Demarius Thomas, Travis Benjamin, Taylor Gabriel, and Dez finishes out. Now, when it comes to sacks, who's been giving up the most sacks? We don't care about. When it comes to offensive line, we don't highlight who hasn't given up enough sack. We want to see the whole line who's doing horrible. We want to see the big guys in the trenches that we need to work on. And leading the way, oh my God, is Taylor Decker. This young man had a great rookie season. He is slumping back a little this year, but I know he's a great fighter, and he's going to keep it going. And hopefully the coaches increase his practice time and get that man some reps in there. And he's leading the pack with 21 sacks allowed, followed by Eric Flowers. And we've seen earlier, Eli's been having a horrible season. His O-line hasn't been helping him out. Eric Flowers in 19. Andre Smith, and we also seen Andy Dalton has been hit 46 times. And Andre Smith helps that out with 18. Followed by Austin Howard. Joe Flacco leads the league in sacks, 57. We know why. Austin Howard is right there at 18. All right, going to the big guys, the other fat man on the trenches. We're going to, first of all, highlight the tackles, because we got to see who's going around making hits, bringing guys down, and stopping the conversions. So right off the bat, we have that young boy, Deion Jones, in the middle of the line for the Atlanta Falcons, and Coach Mike doing his thing with 101 tackles. Oh my God. He's leading by 10 tackles to the next best man. Keep it moving, not to be outdone. We have the veteran, Tony Whitehead, with 91 tackles, 68 solo, and 23 assists. So he does it, and he also helps bring someone down. Going on to Broncos, we have Brandon Marshall and Coach Donnell with 91 tackles, 66 solo, 25 assists. I see you. It's a trend right here. You see these linebackers are getting it done. And not to be outdone is Deion Buchanan. With the defense, we usually go 4, not 3. So Deion with 90, 56, 34. Now, what we like to see, we know the offensive lines have been doing bad this year. Who are your sack leaders? Sack leaders are here. We start off with the young man who just got $1 million contract extension at $55 million to be exact. Donnell Huntley at 16.5. Yeah, the man got the extension, and the man is productive in the field. You feed the man his money, and he is feeding you the sacks in the field. Keep it up, young buck. And Coach Black Ghost, to see you out there, 16.5. That's a great thing to do with that young man. Going on the other side, the number one, we know Quinn has been the number one coach in the league this year. And it's evident by the dominance of his defense. Cliff Avery's right there, not to be outdone by the young men. The old veteran said, listen, young buck, I still got him. Sack behind you with 15.5, followed by Mike Daniels and the Chiefs. The Packers, not to be outdone. Mike Daniels has been consistent at his position, and they move him all over the line. At one point, he's at left hand, he's at right hand, he's a 3-point nose tackle, he's a run stopper. 14.5, keep it up, Mike Daniels. And the last on this list is the rookie young buck coming up to show the world on draft day. He controversial. I do this for my mama, I'm doing this for my grandma, and he was yelling and screaming at the commissioner saying, I got this, I'm doing this, and he is proving his worth and his criticism of the chat with 14-point sacks of the season. Keep it up, young buck. With him is Brandon Graham. Now, this man has been consistent since he came into the league, and he actually came from the alma mater, Blue All Day, Michigan. Go ahead, Graham. Show him what you're all about. Moving on to when it comes to the defensive side, you know these boys get paid to catch interceptions. So who was leading them picks? Oh, my God, let's get into it. Right off the bat, we got Manti Te'o with 7 interceptions in the league. He left the Chargers this offseason to get a whole new scene, because we don't know what happened when he came into the league, the whole girlfriend thing. It's alright, shoot, when I was in high school, I had imaginary girlfriends too. It's okay, man, Tal. You go ahead and do your thing with 7 interceptions. Prove him wrong. Say what I do off the field don't matter. It's what I do on the field. Moving right next to him, we got the rookie Marcus Mayers, who was picked up in the second day of the draft, doing his thing, providing and showing the Jets Nation why he got picked up with 7 picks. Right over there, the consistent Marcus Peters right there with 7 interceptions. Eric Berry, as you can see, the Chiefs defense is here. Berry, up down all day. He's always battling. The man just battled leukemia, and he is back in the game, balling at top level the last 2 years. Kenny Vaccaro right there with 6 interceptions. Jalen Ramsey consistent with his production from last season with 6 interceptions. You can see these all tied for number 1. These all tied for number 2. Now we come to the number 3 spot to pick with 5. We got Tenshawn Gibson. So you can see that Jaguars defense is doing some thing over there. Sidney Jones from Washington. The man had a lot of ups and downs in the season. They drafted him, but he's proven his worth with 5 interceptions. Jamal Teller from the Dolphins with 5. AJ Bouye traded from the Texans to the Jaguars, and it's keep consistent going on with 5. Orlando Scandrick with 5. It seems like a lot of guys this year just right there battling for that number 3 spot. So Darius Jackson with 5. Keith Tandy with 5, Bobby Wagner with 5, Earl Thomas with 5. You're starting to notice we're seeing a lot of Seahawks in this when it comes to defense. There's a reason they are 10-1, fellas. Let's keep it going. Derek Johnson with 5, Sue Craven with 5, Vontae Bell with 5, Tyrann Matthews, Honey Badger with 5, Brandon Flowers went back to the Packers and he has 5, and ending the round of 5s is Jonathan Craven with the Tennessee Titans. Now, we're gonna move on over to who's been forcing them fumbles and rumbling and rumbles. So right now we have Deion Buchanan, 4 forced fumbles. Von Bell, 4 forced fumbles. Demaryius Thomas with 3. Quentin Demps with 3. Khalil Mack with 3. Cliff Bravery with 3. Jordan Mills with 3. Malik Hooker with 3. Adrian Oimos with 3. Kevin Bird with 3. Vincent Ray with 3. Jamal Adams running up the top spots of fumbles with 3. Now, everybody knows I love my kickers, so kickers get love too. They get paid to play and they get paid to miss. The most efficient kickers in the league right now, when it comes to who's made more, well, let me slow that down. Let's go with who's made the most field goal attempts, and let's go with that. So right now, the kicker who has made the most field goals is Jason Myers with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Myers has been consistent since he's been in the league, and he's keeping it going. Adam Clutch Vinatieri, the man has a prefix in his name, Adam D. Clutch Vinatieri. That only says it all. He's been in the league for 21 years, fellas. I don't think you hear me. The man has been in the league for 21 years, and he's still doing the thing. Go ahead, Adam. Show these young cats how it's done. Going on is the strongest leg in the NFL, and he's going to need it because the Ravens are playing bad. Joe Flacco's getting lit up. The offensive line's getting lit up. He's out there with 13 field goals made on 17 attempts, followed by this young coup from the Chargers at 13. Now, let's go into efficiency. See, you could kick 1,000,000 field goals, but if you miss half of that, doesn't mean anything. When it comes to efficiencies, guys who have hit 100 and above their field goals, you have Jake Elliott, you have Blair Walsh, you have William Lutz. Now, Blair Walsh is having a great season here in Seattle, shows you not to never kick a man when he was down. This man lost the Vikings the deciding game in the playoffs a few years ago to the new team that he's playing with, and he has proved them right, so saying thank you for taking a chance with me, and he has been efficient. Going on to Will Lutz, this man was a practice squad player that got bumped up into the rotation last year as a rookie, and has been consistent since then. Nick Folk didn't have a great season last year, but he's having a great season this year. But that's all I'm going to say about Folk, because he blessed my Patriots with a win this past Thursday. Thank you, Folk. I appreciate it. Next, we're moving on to Greg Zuerlein. Greg Zuerlein's always had a boot since he's been in the league, and he's keeping it going. 87% at Connor Barth. Let me round off with the 85s. So the top 3s will be Carlos Correa Santos, Matt Bryan, Khalif Sturgis, Stefan Gostowski, and that rounds it up right there. Now, when it comes to your punters, who's been your most efficient punters? Now, when it comes to I don't care how many punts you kick. It's your net yards that I appreciate as a punter. So your most efficient punters in the league right now goes to Sam Martin with the Detroit Lions, Sam Coach with the Ravens. I mean, the quarterback's getting sacked 1,000,000 times. I would expect to see Sam Coach here. And then followed by Lace Edwards with the New York Jets. All right, so we're going to be moving on. Kick returners, you know? This is where some of your main ball playmakers and players make their livings on. We're going to talk about who's averaging the most yards a return, and it goes to Victor Bolden Jr., the rookie. I'm out there in San Fran, followed by Well, he only has one reception, so we ain't even gonna count that, TJ. But good man and the young man actually has a touchdown. TJ, what? Let me repeat that. You said what? TJ had one punt. That one punt went for 35 yards and a touchdown. The man don't got to do anything else but drop the mic and walk away. Tell him, I'm not a returner. I'm not a corner. I'm not a wide receiver. I'm not a running back. I'm a linebacker and I return the punt. Moving on. Excuse me. We have Philly Brown with the Denver Broncos averaging 34.8 on 13 returns. And that concludes your top three. Now, when it comes to touchdown efficiency with the punt returners, there's a lot of boys who have scored, so we're not going to go over everybody. But, yeah, there's a lot of them that scored one, which is shocking. Usually we have 2, 3 around this time of year. So good job on the special team coaches not letting guys return it on them. So let's go to who has the most punt return yards. Cordelis Patterson is leading the way right now with the Oakland Raiders. Tyreek Hill, the freak, with 328. Not surprised. Tyler Lockett is doing his thing with the Seahawks with 294. And Randall Cobb with 286. And Christian McCaffrey with 285. When it comes to touchdowns and punt returns, once again, this is not as much. So Cordell Patterson has one. Tyreek has one. Randall Cobb has one. Deshaun Jackson has one. Raheem Mostert has one. And Brandon Cooks. Do you know what that means when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Only 6 guys with returns in the league. Maybe your special team is tackling. Great job, coaches. That's what I'd like to see. All right, so that concludes your stats. That concludes what's going on stat-wise. Let's kind of take a deep dive in and look at the awards and see who's actually up here in the awards and what is going on with these awards. So yearly awards, we're gonna dive straight in right now. Your MVP candidates. Like I said, with the awards, I only mention the top 3. Anything under, we don't discuss or talk about. So right now, Devontae Freeman's leading the way with the 8-3 record, and he's running. And as you've seen, he was leading in touchdowns with 18. So he's doing his thing. Ezekiel Elliott's right there behind him at 8-3 record. Deshaun Watson, we see what he's doing. The man had 22 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions. So we can see what he's doing. And he had 3,100 and something yards. So he's balling. So there's a reason why he's right there. All right, well, we're going to move on to Coach of the Year. See no surprise here. As I said, David's been doing his thing up there in Seattle, getting the job done. He just been dominant of defense and offense this season, mainly his defense. Followed by Tristan and Mike Tomlin. Tristan became the owner, bought the Oakland Raiders to keep them in Oakland, and he actually bought over a defensive-minded coach and Mike Tomlin, and he's sitting at 9-2. Now, Jeff has always been a consistent owner in the league. He's out there sitting there at an 8-3 record and getting his job done. So let's dive into the conferences and see who's leading the Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC. While we surprised when Deshaun Watson is right here at number 1, followed by Derrick Henry at number 2, and followed by Lamar Miller at number 3. Moving on to Defensive Players of the Year. Perry Riley Jr. is leading the pack. Khalil Mack right behind him at number 2. And J.J. Watt at number 3. Offensive Rookies of the Year, while we're not surprised, is Deshaun Watson. The man chasing him under that is Kaiser. Followed by Leonard Fournette. Like, he had fumbled 8 times, only 8 touchdowns, but he's keeping up with the 21-7 interceptions and 29 and 11 interception rookies ahead of him. Going to Defensive Rookie of the Year, we saw the man here, Miles. We saw you with the 4 forced fumbles and the 7 picks, so we knew you was going to be here. Good job, young man. Keep it up with the Jets, Marcus Mayer. Followed by Jordan Wells. We saw him there with the fumbles also, so he's doing his thing. And then Jaylen Brown, young man is doing his thing, got a starting position, and he's actually making it work. Next, moving on to the best quarterback, the most efficient quarterback. We saw this. He was number 2 in the league behind Matt Ryan with Deshaun Kaiser. The man has 22 interceptions with 22 touchdowns with only 7 interceptions. That is efficiency at its finest. Andy Dalton is right there behind him. And then followed by Philip Rivers, who is leading the league in yards with 3,336. Oh my God, keep it up, Phillips. Moving on, running backs. The best running back in the league in the AFC side right now is Derrick Henry. The train is keeping it moving. followed by Le'Veon Too Smooth for You Bell, and then followed by Lamar Miller, Shifty Miller. That's what we call him, Lamar Shifty Miller at number 3. Next, we're moving up to DeAndre Hopkins. When it comes to wide receivers, don't do that. Hopkins, as I like to call him, D-Hop, gets it done. Followed by the blazing speed, the fastest man in the NFL at number 2. And then Corey Davis at number 3. Offensive line, these is what matters. And I'm sure you ain't gonna see any Ravens guys here except for Yonder. Yep, that's it. So when it comes to the big boys up front that keeps the offense going, Kalishi has been getting it done since he's joined the Raiders. This man has been more consistent than peanut butter and jelly. Joe Thomas keeps and gets the job done. Dunno Penn has been in the league for a while and he gets it done also. He ran around up the top 3. Next, we're moving on to the defensive line. This man signed a big contract to join the Jaguars this offseason, and he is making and showing them that they made a right investment in them. Khalil Campbell at number 1. JJ, you know, mister, I took a year off, but I'm back to being dominant. Watt, number 2. And then you have Melvin Ingram. This man has been the efficiency of consistent the last 3 seasons for the Chargers at number 3. Now the defensive line for the AFC, the linebackers for the AFC side, we saw this man when it came to interceptions and tackles. Perry Riley Jr. is leading your way for linebackers in the AFC, followed by Khalil Mack, followed by Derek Johnson. Moving on to the DBs. Why is we not surprised? This rookie has been consistent with picks and with forced fumbles. Stop. Leave him alone. With Marquise Myers, Marcus Peters, and the rookie Tavarius White. The best kickers in the league in the AFC side is Jake Elliott, Chris Barlow, Stefan Gostowski. That rounds up your top guys in the AFC. Now we're gonna go over to the NFC side. The best kicker in the NFC side is Nick Folk, Will Lutz, and Blair Walsh. Okay, I'm sorry, but you're picking with him. That's why he hit you. All right, moving on to the offensive players of the year in the NFC side. You have Devontae Freeman leading the way at 8-3. Ezekiel Elliott at 8-3. Christian McFackery. So yeah, at number 3. And the defensive players of the year, while we're not surprised when we see Cliff Avery, we saw him leading the way with the defensive line when it came to stats. Cliff Avery at number 1, Deion Jones had 101 tackles, so he should be a nominee for defensive player of the year, sitting there at number 2, and Bobby Consistent Wagner at number 3. When it comes to offensive rookies on this side, that boy from Penn State, Christian, leads the way at number 1, Mitchell D. Trubisky at number 2, and Chris Goodwin at number 3. Defensive rookies of the year, we saw this rookie here, McKinley, with 14 sacks. So we knew he was going to be somewhere on this list. Leading it for the Falcons at number 1, Solomon Thomas at number 2, and then Jarvis Davis at number 3. Best quarterbacks in the AFC. He was the most efficient quarterback in the league, so it should only make sense he's the best quarterback in the NFC side. With Matt Ryan, followed by Aaron Rodgers. We saw him in the top. He was in the top 3 of every category. Followed by Russell Too Smooth for You Wilson, leading his team to a 10-1 record. Now we go straight into the running backs in the NFC side. Devontae Freeman was the number 1 rusher in the league in yards and touchdowns. It's only fair that he is number 1. The man right under him, Ezekiel Elliott, is the number 2 rusher in the league. It's right there at 8-3 record, followed by Todd Gurley at a 5-6 record. The best wide receivers in the NFC side is Julio Jones, Des Bryant, and Jordy Nelson. Next, we're moving on to the offensive linemen. Zach Martin is leading the way for the Cowboys. Travis Frederick is also there with the Cowboys. You can just put the Cowboys or offensive line on this list. Alex Mack is number 3 right there for the Falcons. So moving on, going on to the defensive line. Now we saw this young man is leading the league in sacks with 16. So it's only fair that he is the #1 defensive lineman in the NFC with Danielle Hunter. Cliff Avery was right behind him in the NFC when it came to sacks, so it's only fair he's #2. And Brendan Graham sitting right there at #3. Next on the list, we have the linebackers. This young man is leading the league in interception with 7, so he's #1. Followed by Jordan Hicks and Bobby Wagner at #3. The DBs for the NFC side is Kenny Vaccaro, Von Bell, and Justin Evans, the rookie. When it comes to, we did kickers, so we're just gonna quickly call the media team. We're gonna try to get a coach in here. Give us a second. We're gonna actually message the new coach we were discussing on earlier in the segment when we said Eli's been playing horribly, so the owner fired the head coach due to the way the team has been playing. They brought over a defensive-minded coach from the CFL into the league, and we're gonna go over his stats and discuss what he could do for the Giants and how he could right the ship. So we're gonna invite Coach Talib into our segment and see exactly. We're gonna go over a few things with his team and see exactly where he's at. All right, give us a second while we contact Coach Talib. All right, we got Coach Talib here on the segment. First of all, we want to take a moment to thank you, Coach, for coming on the segment. We know you have a busy day, getting accustomed to the new team. All right, Coach. So we're going to discuss a few things. First of all, you have a big task in you, knowing that your team is having a horrible season. They brought you in from the CFL for your great defensive mind and your offensive schemes. What have you told your players in the locker room how you like to get things done, and what culture have you brought into that locker room?
Looking at quarterback.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. So, Coach, speaking and elaborating on your quarterbacks, so you just left no secret out there, telling the whole league, that you informed your whole team that none of their jobs are safe. They have to earn the right to be on your team, and you said you're looking to draft a quarterback. So what does that mean with veterans like Eli Manning and the rookie that the previous regime picked up in David Webb? Okay. So is there anything that you've noticed from both those two quarterbacks that you could actually help fix? Like, for instance, we know Eli is not having one of his best statistic year. I mean, his QBR is still average compared to the league. He's sitting right there in the middle at 82.5. But he's had 15 interceptions to 12 interceptions and sitting at 2,465 yards. Are you sitting him for the rest of the season? Are you moving on with him? Or are you opening up the role for the rookie Davis Webb? Okay. Now, would it as a new coach transitioning into the league, we know with your background, you come with a great resume. What happens with your running game if you're trying to teach your quarterback or develop your quarterback? Are you going to instill that running game into them? Because right now, when it comes to running game, you guys are near last in the league. Your best rusher is Orlando Dakwa, followed by Shane Vereen. Now, you a total of 8 touchdowns on the ground this year. Is that something that you need to tell them to fix, or is that something you're gonna be looking to work on, or are you just looking to see what your quarterback and your defense could do for you? Okay. Well, we know your wide receivers are consistent. You have Odell Beckham Jr. on that side. You have Sheldon Shepard. You have Everson Ingram. You have Brandon Marshall. And, I mean, they've been consistent all season. So we know your offense. So we know you have the weapons to get your quarterbacks going. It's just what have you installed on the defensive side that makes you feel, this is what that you've told that culture. This is how we're going to be playing. Have you changed schemes? Have you moved guys around? What have you done on that defensive side to try to improve your record going forward?
We're definitely going to be installing on a few more quick passages. We have the secondary to play the and the linebackers.
That's all right. Okay. So offensively, we notice you're averaging only 18.1 points per game. What have you guys been talking about in that locker room to try to improve on that number?
We've just been talking about getting pass rush better, getting linebackers playing better. It's just working on everything.
Okay. Yeah, because as of right now, you're one of the worst defenses in the league when it comes to points allowed. You've allowed 377 points, so I know you actually are the worst defense in the league when it comes to points. You're leading the league by 22 points. The closest team to you is the Lions and Redskins at 355. What have you been telling your defender to, and how you could limit those points? Because you guys are only scoring 18.1 points a game, but yet you're letting guys walk up and down the field on you guys. What have you told your defense to get them back to that dominant defense we're used to seeing?
I've just been having the D-line and having to get pressure. We need to get better pass rush, better coverage.
Okay. All right, Coach. Well, we thank you for coming into the segment. We welcome you once again to BOE family and into the league. We look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing for years to come. Once again, thank you for joining by. We're probably going to see you again on the yearly recap. And we just thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so that was Coach Talib from the Colts. We're looking into actually getting another coach in here right now. Just give us a second. Our media team is contacting them to see what's going on. But yes, if you can see, if you've been watching this segment, you know what we're all about. You know how we get down. We get our coaches in here to discuss their league, discuss their season, and just kind of see. So later on in the year, we're gonna have a segment when the playoffs come. It's actually gonna be called Predict Who's Gonna Win a Super Bowl once the playoffs stop. The moment it hits the wild card rounds, we're gonna list all the teams in the playoffs. And if you predict, we're gonna all 32 on it. If you guys can predict who's gonna win Super Bowl, it's called basically random pick'em. What that's gonna do is basically you automatically get 5 bonus attribute points if you pick the right owner that wins the Super Bowl. So that's a segment that I'm adding in this year, just to kind of, you know, entice my owners a little. And also, we're bringing back the donations, as some of you guys who've been to BOE long enough knows. So there's going to be division round winners. You guys are going to be getting medals. There's going to be conference round medals. And then there's also going to be a Super Bowl trophy for the Super Bowl winner. So I appreciate it. If you're just joining in, I thank you for joining this segment. We've discussed the season. We've discussed the stats, the attributes, and we've also talked to a coach already. Now we're waiting for one more coach who we're getting on here shortly. We're getting the media team is getting one more coach in here. So give us a second. The media team's trying to get one more. We're getting our last coach in here, and we're going to discuss his season and what's been going on in his league, what's been going on in his locker room, on the field, what's been telling his players and everything else like that. So just give us a moment here while we get that phone call made. Come on, stop, and everything else set up. But if you just join in, you quickly want to skip back and kind of catch up on a recap, you can see exactly what we talked about, what was discussed in BOE, and everything else. So give us a moment, let the media team contact the coach, and we'll be right back at it. So for now, just listen to the music that's playing in the background. Let's go! We back.
Okay, we back.
As you can see, we had technical difficulties this segment. The camera, the visuals wasn't right. My media team, as you heard her right now, she said we back. She's trying to work on that. She's gonna have it fixed by, when are you gonna have it fixed? By the next segment?
You're
gonna have it fixed by the next segment? Alright. So she's gonna have it fixed by the next segment. Hey, what's good with you, Chris? Now I have to go blow my nose real quick. You wow. But yeah, now I was doing a BOE segment review. What you been up to, bruh? Yeah, I need to get that. You said I'm about to have what? Yeah, so hold on, Chris. If you want to mute me so you don't hear the dudes yelling, but they about to join and talk about their teams real quick. Alright, so we're gonna have the Jags owner joining us shortly, and then we're gonna try to get the Seahawks owner. So while we're waiting for those two owners to join, we're gonna go over their teams real fast and see where they stand in the league. We're gonna look at the Jags. Alright, so we're gonna quickly look at the Jags and see what they're doing, what they've been doing this season. You said what? Alright, so Go and look at them offensively. The Jags in the middle of the pack. I mean, not the Jags, the Rams. Sorry. So the Rams, they're sitting in the middle of the pack when it comes to total offense. Hold on, I just heard the garage. So I believe our executive boss is here.
There you go. Not bad, like.
Yo.
Sexy man.
Yeah.
Mama.
Yo, can you hear me now, Chris? Okay, sorry.
Be careful, Daddy.
Yeah, they ain't joining. Yes, ma'am. All right, sorry.
Be dressed and ready so we can get out of here.
Oh.
Mobilizing.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, we're gonna end the segment early. They having technical difficulties. They can't get on. But wait, actually, hold on. One of them says he's getting on right now.
I got for my babies. There's more cups.
We're gonna have one more coach. He's gonna be joining on. He's gonna be with the Rams. So let's kind of go over the Rams and see what the Rams have been doing this year, this season. So let's locate the Rams and see exactly where they're at. All right. So as right now, as you can see, the Rams they have a total yards allowed. Defensively, they're right there when it comes to not necessarily allowing a lot of points. They're in the top 7 teams in the league with total points allowed. Total yards allowed, they don't really give up a lot of yards. Whether, as you can see, their run defense has just been stout. At 704 for the season, they are leading the #1 rushing defense in the league. With today has been consistent. They're top 7 team in total defense, the #1 defense in the league in rushing. You're not running on that team. They're in the middle of the pack when it comes to passing, I believe. I think they're like number 11. Hold on, let me. Yeah, they're number 11 when it comes to rush to passing. When it comes to sacks, you can see them all. You can see them right there. They're in the middle of the packs. Also, when it comes to points allowed, they are in the middle of the pack. Also, at points allowed. Actually, they're near the bottom, but they don't allow a lot of running. So it's just they're near the bottom when it comes to a lot. They allow a lot of points. They just don't allow you to get some yards off on them. I'm gonna go over a few plays on the Rams and basically kind of see what they've been doing consistently this season to get the job done. Jared Goff has been having a bad season. When I mean bad season, I mean, as you can see, the young man has 11 touchdowns to 29 interceptions at a horrible and per decimal quarterback rating of 55.9. He's been sacked 22 times, but it's just not been a great season for the young man. He had a horrible rookie season, and he's continuing that with his sophomore season. So it's one of those things that he's gonna be looking to fix. But we just had the coach of the Rams joining our segment recently. It's contacted our media team. So let's see if we can get him in here. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
Well, welcome to the segment, Coach. First of all, we like to begin the segment with everybody by saying thank you. Welcome to the BOE Coaching Circle.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so Coach, we're gonna kind of dive straight into it for you. You are one of the teams in this league. Actually, I should repeat that. You are the #1 rushing team in this league, only allowing 704 rushing. But yet, on the other side of the ball, you're in the bottom half. You're in the bottom half when it comes to points allowed. Is there something that's not transitioning well for your defense as to why you guys don't allow any rushing yards, but yet you're actually giving up points and through the air?
We're giving people short field advantages where we need to minimize the turnovers to keep away from allowing easy scores.
Okay. Now, we're gonna actually dive right into what you just said. Somebody trying to minimize turnovers. Now we've seen that your second year pro quarterback is having himself another one of those seasons. He has 11 touchdowns to 29 interceptions. Is this something that you guys have been working on in the film room and also on the field to try to limit his turnovers so you're actually not giving your defense in a bad position?
We're looking at actually we have been. We're looking at shortening down his yards, having him check down instead of just waiting for the deep ball. Yeah, minimize those turnovers, hopefully.
Okay. So on the other end, you are consistent, as we've noticed when we was looking at the yards and the awards. You have been getting the ball going with Todd Gurley. Is that one of your game plans now, to take the ball away from Jared Goff and keep it in Gurley's hand? As a young man has 902 yards and 14 touchdowns, he's only put the ball in the he's only dropped the rock 2 times, 2 fumbles this season.
We are trying. We're trying to get him the ball more often. We need to minimize the amount of throws that Goff is making. So we're going to try to get the ball into his hands.
Okay. So what have you been telling your guys in the locker room there? What's been the culture to change your season? And what's been going on? Because you guys are not having a season that you expected this year. What have you been telling the guys in the locker room change? Because I know the previous owner got fired and they brought you into the regime, into this regime to try to fix a few things, and you've been doing that since you came in with the rocking the pound and pounding the ball. But what have you been telling your players in the locker room to buy into your system?
Honestly, I've been telling them that keep their head up. It's going to be a long road, but if we all stay on track, we will be making a push, and we can turn things around. It just takes time.
Now, when it comes to defense, you have some leaders back there in the defense. You have some guys, from Alec Ogletree to Aaron Donald to Alexandra to Robert Quinn. What have your defensive leaders been saying to the other guys in the locker room?
They've been telling them to basically keep strong, keep playing hard, play to the last whistle.
Now, you do have a candidate in Todd Gurley, who's actually this year, when it comes to the NFC portion of it, Todd Gurley's up in MVP votes at number 4. He's also out there when it comes to running backs. Have you been telling him to keep his mind leveled and focus on the goal, or has the award been getting to him and he's just thinking about a one-man show?
He's been keeping his mind leveled. Honestly, he's staying focused. He's keeps all the distractions out. He tries to stay away from the media.
Okay. Now, your offensive line has not played well all season, even though Gurley's has been the one making them look better. The one consistent man that you have on your offensive line has been Andrew Whitworth, the veteran that you recently just added this offseason. What does that have to say about your offseason moves if your running back is constantly being harassed by 3 guys in the backfield, but he is making them miss and churning out yards? Is that a need to address in the offseason, or is that just the coaching method with you trying to coach guys better?
We're trying to coach them, but I think there will be a look and an overhaul on the offensive line, honestly. We need our players to be there, play hard. We can't have people always in the backfield blowing up our run game and also taking away our passes,
Okay. All right, well, Coach, was there anything you want to add on to the, with the league being your first segment in the league? Is there anything that you want to add on for us to the media team, for us here to look out for? Are you guys changing schemes, changing guys' position? Is there anything you want us, the media team, to look out for? Because we're always watching.
No. Honestly, just watch for us. We're gonna be coming strong through the rest of the year, but watch us for the next year.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming on to this segment. We look forward to talking to you later on throughout the year. We look forward to seeing what you're going to do with that team. Once again, thank you. We applaud everything you've been doing. Keep it up. You're one of the owners, like we said earlier, we talked on this segment. It's crazy to have a league full of 29 owners, and we've only had 2 major warnings. One being when before you even joined the league, where you advised us on the situation. So it's amazing to have 29 owners and only 2 major infractions happen all season, and we're on week 13. So we thank you for joining the league. We thank you for being part of the league. We look forward to what you're going to be doing, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
All right, guys, everybody been watching the BOE segment. That's it for the wrap up for this segment. We look forward to more to come. You guys know me. You guys know what the media team's about. Bringing it back to the old BOE. We're going to have news outlets coming soon. I'm going to surprise you guys with it. But the media team let the cat out the hat. We're bringing back the newsletters. So be on the lookout within the next 3 advances for some crazy stat line newsletters. And also some other things. We brought back the donation box where we're going to be sending out trophies and medals to great owners, divisional leaders, the conference title, and a Super Bowl trophy, and other gifts is going to be going on along. So we're bringing it back to the roots of ball out era. I applaud you guys once again, all my owners. I applaud you guys. I'm very, very, very thankful for staying through the rough patches. Having a hell of a season this year, where, like I said, it's crazy. It's been a long time. I know in the past we had like 3 seasons in a row we had no rule breaking. If you could get back to that, if I had the money, I'd buy everybody everything. But it's still a work in progress. Right now, to think we're in week 13, and we've only had 2 incidents that I had to tell the admins about, and I had to talk to owners about. It's amazing. I'm in different leagues, so I applaud the whole league for that. Thank you guys. I thank you guys for making it easier on me as a commish, and just keeping BOE consistently growing. Like I said, if you have any feedbacks at all time, you know my office is always open. I may not respond right away, but I always respond. Thank you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate the family that we've built, and there's so many great things to come. So this is your head commish, Mucka Boy Styles 08. Media team is here. We're gonna keep it going and just keep everything else going. Next week we'll have the technical difficulty fixed, and she's gonna have the camera up. You gonna have the camera up? Yeah, they can't hear you. You gonna have it up? All right, she's gonna have it up. And we're just gonna keep it moving. So once again, owners, thank you. Have a great day. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and just give us feedbacks, and we'll make things happen. Appreciate it, fellas. Have a great day, everybody. And that's the end.